Constellations. When you think about astronomy, one of the first couple things that you might think of is a constellation. So, constellations are just groups of stars that are pretty stationary relative to each other. What does that mean? If I am standing here on Earth and I look up at the night sky, and I have maybe some group of stars that I think look like they form a square right now. Well, if I take that same group, if I take that same view of the sky and look later in the year, so if I wait another however many months, these stars are going to move in the sky, right? So maybe this one looks like it moves this way, this one here, here. This one maybe stays put for the most part. That one there, that one there. They move around. And maybe these stars, maybe this guy moves here, but all of these seem to move kind of together. What that means is that these stars will look the same relative to each other. This guy moved up here. That one moved down. That one moved up. That one stayed put. This one moved. This one comes down here maybe. So the sky looks different, but these all moved together. So if I am paying attention to the sky, I have a whole lot of background, but I have this group of stars that when I pay attention, I will see a square of stars in the sky, and that's a constellation. Where do they come from? Well, these stars, they move, but they're moving relative to us. That's the big thing we're looking at, right? So if I've got the Earth like this, and we can have continents on it. So if I've got the Earth like this, and I'm standing, I'm going to be huge for a moment, I'm standing here on Earth looking up at the sky, there are stars every which way. In my field of view, there might be this star, this star, this one, and this one. And together, from where I'm standing, those make a square. Because of how the Earth moves through space, maybe if the Earth is moving this way through space, those stars will stay in the same relative position to each other. And so that square, even though the square might move to lower in the sky or higher in the sky or whatever, that square will still look the same. Ancient astronomers picked up on this, and they used those stationary sets of stars, which we call constellations. They used those to be able to do some navigating and to be able to predict what time of year it is, how long is left until the next harvest, things like that, because those stars move in a predictable way. Though that same square in the sky might be high in the sky in the beginning of the year, low in the sky toward the end of the season, and so I know that when it gets high up in the sky again, that might be a good time to start planting some crops, or that means that within the next month or two, or within the next month, maybe the river is likely to rise because these things happen in patterns. Now, depending on where you are, whether you're in the northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere, you will see different constellations that stay in the sky over different parts of the year. Some of the major ones that we see are Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. Or we see a small part of Ursa Major. Ursa Major means Big Bear. We might also see the Big Dipper, which is a subset of these stars. And Ursa Minor and the Little Dipper. Those are a couple of the big ones. In the southern hemisphere, the Southern Cross is one that's common enough to where it shows up on a couple of flags. We can see plenty of constellations that are going to be at least familiar in name, right? We can see like Aries and Taurus, Gemini, Pisces, things like that. These are constellations that are recurring over the course of a year. Based on, if you are a particular kind of superstitious, based on when in the year you were born, a different one of these constellations would be central in the sky. And here's the superstitious part. There are people who really try and orient a whole lot of things to this. If you are born in whatever month, then maybe Taurus was high in the sky, and that if that's the case, then you are going to be, I don't know, an emotional person who should wear more red, who should pick up coins on the sidewalk this week for good luck and walk backwards through doors or something. I don't know. But they are constellations that just move around in the sky and repeat over the course of a year. This, when we start talking about these and trying to base life decisions on them, is astrology, which is not to be confused with astronomy. Astronomy is a measurement, a science. Astrology is a horoscope and a newspaper section. Full disclosure, and here is something that might surprise you. Astronomers, on average, don't really know that many constellations. Professional astronomers. Amateur astronomers will be able to tell you all sorts of constellations. Professional astronomers generally don't know them very much because they're not that valuable anymore. They're just really not. They were great for navigation. They were great for recognizing seasons, but we have other ways of doing that now. It's still an important thing to see because even from a historical standpoint, there's a lot to be learned. And it's interesting enough. So I'm going to link to a couple of things that show you maybe different ways to find certain constellations in the sky, how to come up with a system where you can pick them out quickly and even create a device that helps you find them. In the meantime, that's kind of a jump start on constellations.